Hello and welcome back to Bass Trending Gist, where we break down the stories everyone is talking about. Today, we are diving into a major political controversy that has erupted following the sad passing of former President Muhammadu Buhari. The African Democratic Congress, or ADC, has released a very strong worded press statement, and we are going to analyze it right here. The statement signed by the ADC's interim spokesperson Bolaji Abdullahi is titled "Desperate Tinubu Government Exploits Buhari's Death to Whitewash Its Battered Image." Okay? Right from the headline, the tone is set. It is aggressive and accusatory. The statement claims the Tinubu's government is engaged in a cynical and opportunistic attempt to exploit the death of former President Muhammadu Buhari for political gains. The ADC points to two specific events as proof. First, what they called choreographed Federal Executive Council tribute. Second, the politicized appearance of Buhari's grieving son, Yusuf, at that meeting. They labeled these actions as a calculated PR stunt by an unpopular government. Can you imagine that? APC, an unpopular government. A government in power. I'm not holding brief for anybody. Okay, so the core of their argument is hypocrisy. The statement says, and I quote, "You cannot spend months discrediting a man's legacy only to turn around and perform grief for the cameras." It argues that for the past years, the Tinubu administration has consistently blamed Buhari for the country's economic woes, fiscal recklessness, and a broken economy. Now, they say the government is trying to clock itself in the very legacy it once denounced. The most emotionally charged part of the statement concerns the late president's son. The ADC asked, and again, I'm quoting directly, "What kind of government uses the private pain of a bereaved family to varnish its own public image?" They called the use of the mourning son, who was compelled to perform gratitude in front of the cameras, unconscionable. So, to briefly analyze this before I give you my take, the goal, the ADC's objective is clear: to frame government's action as insincere and politically motivated. They are trying to control the narrative and prevent Tinubu's administration from gaining any political goodwill from what should be a moment of national unity. The strategy. Their strategy is to highlight a perceived contradiction, blaming a predecessor for problems while publicly mourning him. By doing this, they aim to appeal to Nigerians who are frustrated with the current administration and also to Buhari's loyalists who might feel his legacy is being misused. The language. The language is powerful and emotive. Words like cynical, exploit, whitewash, political cycles, shows, and grand deceit are deliberately chosen to paint the government's action in the worst possible light. Now that we've understand what the ADC is saying, let me give you my own take on the developing story. The ADC is, in my own opinion, playing the textbook role of an opposition party. Their job is to criticize and hold the government accountable, and in this case, they see an opportunity. They are framing the Tinubu's administration's action as hypocritical. However, let's look at the other side. What the Tinubu administration has done, organize a tribute supporting the family, is arguably what any government in power would do when a former head of state passes away. It's a matter of national protocol and respect for the office of the presidency. To not do so will be seen as a major political misstep. President Tinubu and former President Buhari were not just colleagues, they were key figures who came together to form APC. A public show of support and mourning is expected. This brings us to the so-called heavyweights of the APC figures like Atiku Abubakar, Nasser El-Rufai, and Peter Obi. Their condolence visit came a day after the burial. One could argue this timing was a political calculation in itself to distance themselves from the official government narrative while still paying their respect. The ADC's bitterness seems to stem from a feeling that the Tinubu government is getting a political win out of a somber situation. They are trying to paint the government as insincere, but for many Nigerians, seeing a sitting president honor his predecessor is a sign of stability and national unity regardless of past political disagreements. The ADC statements, while landing some punches, may come across to some as trying to score political points from a moment of national mourning. The Nigerian people have to decide what they believe. Is the government grief genuine, or is it a PR stunt as the ADC claim? And is the ADC's criticism a valid point or just saw grapes from the opposition? That's the crux of this trending gist. Now, Woye had this to say. These are the comments. I'm going to read out comments from Twitter, what people are saying, people's opinion under that press statement. So he said, I have been telling you to take a break. Learn from Chief Obafemi Awolowo's way of opposing the past government, not Shagari. This your tweet is Rhapsody Lounge after one bottle of Glenfiddich and Wobby when boys cited Yellow CC. That's Woye's way of his tweets. Another person, Tajuddin 2013 GM2, didn't mind his words. He said, you are senseless. Buhari and Tinubu formed the APC and he is our past president. The Otumba GCFR one questioned Abdullahi's standing. Exploit? Same man Tinubu supported to be president. Where were you when Tinubu supported Buhari in 2015? What impute did you put? On the other hand, Ibrahim strongly agreed with the ADC. Absolutely spot on. This statement captures the deep frustration many Nigerians feel about the shameless politicization of national grief. It is deeply insulting that the Tinubu administration, after consistently blaming Buhari for every economic and social failure, now turns around to exploit his death for political mileage. You can't disown a man in life and suddenly claim him in death. This hypocrisy is not only transparent but morally bankrupt. Grief should never be weaponized for image laundering. Kudos to ADC for calling it out. The Nigerian people are watching and we will not be fooled. Nice one there. Now, Otumba saw it as a sign of desperation from the opposition. He said, this guy's work rate, since he has been activated, is on another level. Dollar at work, with the laugh emoji. But it doesn't change anything. Tinubu till 2031, right? That is your opinion. Olamosko offered a cultural perspective. It is laughable that ADC called it PR stunt. President Tinubu is simply showing statesmanship and respect. Beyond being his predecessor, Buhari was 10 years older, and as a Yoruba man, honoring an elder like this is only normal. There's a saying, the brother who buries his elder brother naked is only showing how he wants to be buried. Sadly, this kind of decency is what opposition parties struggle to understand. It's not politics, it's protocol, culture, and respect. And finally, foundational Ijesha man had this to say. So this FPMB, that's former President Muhammad Buhari burial, and the way President showed friendship is really paining you people. And I know after you all saw the images from Kanu too, you were provoked even more. I guess Tinubu went to Kanu 2 days ago, so that's what he is referring to here. And that is why you have to sow this long thread at the time of mourning. Nigerians can see through the gathering of thieves and scavengers. The reality will soon dawn on you birds of strange fellows. Wow. So as you can see, the opinions are varied and passionate. This issue touches on politics, culture, and the very real emotions tied to a former leader's passing. We'll keep an eye on how this story develops. That's all for this edition of Oba's Trending Gist. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.